Hello, anybody watching? My name is Dylan, and I like to build houses in The Sims 4. Today I am finishing the interior of the Family Guy house. In my last video, I did the exterior and somewhat of the landscaping. This video here is just going to be doing the interior furnishings. So I just immediately got started here. I'm putting in the stuff into the living room. I think it turned out pretty accurate. The rug there is a little bit different. It comes from cats and dogs, but it works for the room. Those purple chairs are from City Living. I think they look perfect for the space. I really like how most of the interior furnishings turned out, especially the living room and the kitchen there. I'm going to be putting in the stereo there. And on top of that, I think I put in some posters. Those are supposed to be, in the show they have pictures of the kids on top of that stereo, but we don't actually have those pictures. So I decided just to put in some posters and scale them down, and you can just suspend your disbelief a little bit there. Moving on to the kitchen, I really like how the kitchen turned out. In fact, it's probably my favorite room. It's arguably the most accurate to the actual house itself. It's maybe a little bit smaller than what is shown in the show, but it works really well. It is fully play tested. Everything is good to go and works, and you're able to access it. Putting in some tile there, got the sink. I also added a dishwasher. I believe everything in the kitchen except for the dining chairs is base game only. The dining chairs come from Get Together, which makes sense. So do a lot of the windows in this house. So, if you're going to need Get Together anyway. So, if you need it, then you need it for some chairs too. I added Stewie's blue high chair right there. In the TV show, they also have a cork board. I think I put it on the right side. It might be in the show. It might actually be on the other side, but it is what it is. It's not that big a deal. Finishing up the kitchen, I really like that pink tablecloth on that table. That is base game only. I'm not sure when that was added to the base game. I'm fairly certain that it wasn't in the base game when the game first launched. I also, I built this house a couple of times actually, and I think they must have added this pink table at least relatively recently, because I just have never seen it before. There are the pink curtains. I downsized one of them to fit the room a little bit better. This is the dining room. This room is made with a lot of stuff from cats and dogs. I think the table and chairs are all from cats and dogs. There's also, you'll see in a second, I added a base game painting to the wall on the left. And I love that painting. I use it all the time. It's not up yet, but it matches almost perfectly with what is in the Griffin house, or what's shown to be in the Griffin house. They don't usually, show the family in the dining room, but when they do, they show it from an angle that it's got that painting. And I just think it's great that ended up being in the base game of Sims 4, because it just matches perfectly. Here I am furnishing the piano room. The piano room doesn't get a whole lot of use anymore. It definitely did in older seasons, but not so much anymore. Lois Griffin used to be a piano teacher, and I think she still is. But they just don't show it anymore, because she's actually become a little bit more mean since the show has gone on. She used to be this very caring mother figure who taught neighborhood kids piano, and now they don't use this room. I think the last time they were even in this room was a couple of seasons ago, when Lois and Peter were trying to make Stewie a child star, and they were in this room, and they were giving him some sort of energy drink that a 1-year-old kid should not be drinking. I think that was the last time they even showed this room. That might have been even a couple of years ago. There is a computer in this room, so it does make this room a little bit more usable, so you don't just have to come in to use the piano. There's also a bookshelf, and I think I add a chair, a living chair, to the corner of the room. I don't think that's actually the case in the real Griffin house as far as the show goes, but I did decide to add a few extra things just to make it a little bit more livable. I do like to make each room very livable, and I do like each room having an actual purpose. I could have just made this room, I could have just put a piano in it and called it good, but how often are your Sims actually going to be playing piano? So here they can at least read a book or play on the computer or sit by the fire or something like that. Moving on, I'm on the second floor now. This is Meg's room. I think out of all the rooms that I created, Meg's room is probably the one that is least like what is in the show. And that's just simply because there's not a whole lot of stuff in The Sims 4 and its expansions that really matches Meg's room. And I think I used all base game items for Meg's room. I do think that's important when building a Sims house, to have at least a couple rooms that are space game only, because not everybody has all the expansions. In fact, I don't even have all the expansions by any means. I'm still missing most of them. I don't have the 2 newest ones. I don't have Discover University yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it. And I don't have Island Living. And I think I have Tiny Living and I have Parenthood. But other than that, I don't really have that much. I have all the other expansions except for the most recent 2. But I'm just trying to say, I think it's important to at least have a couple rooms where it's base game only, or it's mostly base game only. I think other houses that just rely on some kind of out there expansion, I just don't like that, and I've never liked that. I've actually been building houses since about 2004, and even then, when I was younger, building houses in Sims 2, I still was keeping on just with the base game, because I just think that's important, especially when you're uploading it to online or to other Sim sites, because not everybody has all the expansions. Same thing with Chris's room. I think it's mostly base game. I believe I added a couple of kind of throwaway items from City Living, but just as decor. So I think I added some pieces of garbage to the floor, actually, as gross as that sounds, but it just makes Chris's room look a little bit more like Chris's room. I think his room turned out pretty well. It's relatively big. You can use it pretty well. And just adding some stuff to the walls there, add some blinds. I like those blinds a lot. I don't often use them, but I think they work out really well. And I like the color scheme in Chris's room as well. If you look at screenshots, you can see that he's got the green bed, and he's just got an overall green theme, and then his lamps are purple, which I just think that's kind of cool. You don't usually see purple lamps, but then again, it is an animated show, and animated shows do tend to use kind of out there colors to make things pop a little bit more. That's probably why there's bright red carpet everywhere, and you don't usually see that in people's houses, especially not anymore. Just finishing up some rooms here. Just adding a couple more decor items. I think I'm going to be moving on to Stewie's room in just a moment. There's the items from City Living. Just use them for clutter. This is Stewie's room here. Stewie's room is probably one of the more accurate rooms. The only thing that is different is actually the placement of his bedroom door. You can see it right there. In the TV show, that door is in a slightly different spot than what I have it here. And I did that on purpose because it just makes Stewie's room more accessible. If I did not put the door there, then I would have had to reconfigure the rooms, and it just wouldn't have worked. I already had to make a concession with the placement of the bathroom, and so I was like, changing where the door goes in Stewie's room. And I think I did the same thing in Peter and Lois's room. It's not that big a deal. The house is still recognizable. The interior rooms are still recognizable. So the door is off a little bit. Oh, well. I mean, you can probably, I'm sure there's somebody out there who maybe configured it as best as possible, and that's great. And I just didn't really think it mattered that much. That bear is supposed to be a giant Rupert, Stewie's teddy bear that he uses Rupert a lot. He's friends with Rupert, I guess. His big giant one there. Adding a couple more clutter items, finishing up Stewie's room pretty soon. I do like a lot of the stuff that comes with just the base game as far as kids room stuff goes. I don't actually have the kids room stuff pack, and I do have Parenthood, but I don't usually use Parenthood all that much when I'm building a house. But I do think that the base game has a few good things for children's rooms. I mean, when I do children's rooms, they all kind of look the same. but it's whatever. This is Peter and Lois's room. It's a little bit smaller than what is suggested in the show, and there's also sometimes an attached bathroom to this bedroom. I'm not exactly sure where that would be in the house if it were real. Just to be fully honest, I have no idea how they would actually go about putting an actual bathroom connected to this, but I did not connect a bathroom to it. I don't know where I would have put it anyway. But it works. It's nice. I like the furniture I use. This room is almost exclusively cats and dogs, and those paintings come from, on the side there, they come from Get Together. The only difference really with this room is, like I said, it is a little bit smaller, and that wall where I did put those paintings, there's supposed to be like a dresser or an armoire there, but I just couldn't fit it. So I just I moved where the armoire would be, and I put it right in front of the window. And I think it worked out. And I put a mirror right behind it, so it kind of looks like an armoire, even though it's not. But I just like the way it looks a lot. There's blue curtains in this room. I like those. And I think I added some lamps. There's the lamps, the red lamps. Those are base game only. I like those lamps a lot. This is the bathroom on the second floor. There is 2 bathrooms in this house, one on the second floor and then one in the basement. I really like this bathroom. I think it actually turned out really, it's pretty accurate. It might be a little bit smaller than what is suggested in the show, but I think the colors are almost exactly spot on. And I remember building this bathroom a couple of years ago, the first time I made this house, and even then I was like blown away. I was like, this looks exactly like how it's supposed to. I can't believe that. And I almost still can't believe just how lucky we were for that to work out, especially given that we don't really have a color wheel in Sims 4. But it worked, and I like it a lot. I use that combination actually, and even in houses that aren't supposed to be, Sims 4 related. You can see where the second bathroom is going to be. The first bathroom has pink accents. This one has blue accents. I'm furnishing the bathroom here. Just one sink in each bathroom, so there's no double sinks going on or anything. But that makes sense. It's supposed to be a very working class, middle class house. This is the basement here. It might be a little bit smaller than what is suggested in the show. I feel like I'm kind of saying that a lot, but it is what it is. I designed this to be like the basement bar that is in one of the earlier episodes, I think like season 3, maybe. Peter opens a bar in his basement. I don't remember the reason why, but he does so. And then Lois becomes like a popular bar singer or a lounge singer. And then Peter gets really mad at her because she becomes something of a local celebrity, and he's like, I don't like everyone looking at my wife. And so I put that bar down here. It's not really, it is functional. It functions well. You can use it. I don't really see why you would use it unless you're trying to take screenshots of it, but it works. You might have to turn move objects on for everything to show up if you're going to place this house, which you can do. You can find this house on my gallery, same username on the gallery as I've got here, which is CarlDillynson. You can find this house here, and you can find some of my older houses as well. I have about 190 uploads, I think, on the gallery right now. But you can certainly find this one. Just make sure to place move objects just in case. It shouldn't be a problem most of the time, but I think it is for the bar placement. Unfortunately. This is the 3-season porch, so they don't really use that often. I think when they do, the furniture in here is mostly green, but I decided to just use these base game chairs. So it's not maybe 100% accurate, but I think it looks cute. I would use it. There's a bookshelf in there, so you can come in there and read. A nice plant. I probably could have put some other stuff in there too, but I didn't want to make it too furnished, because it's a relatively small room. Just added some clutter items here. There's the basement again. Adding some more siding to the basement. There's no reason for me to do that, but I did it anyway. Alrighty, there's the house, first, second, and third floor. Some screenshots here. There's the living room with the Griffin family. You can find them in my gallery as well. There is the dining room with Stewie's high chair. There is the other dining room. The other one was the kitchen, excuse me. There is the piano room, and there is the basement bar and the bathroom. We have the first floor right there, and the second floor right here with the 1 bathroom and the 4 bedrooms. And then we have the animated house. And then right after that, we have my version of the house once again. So I hope you enjoyed this video and hope you enjoyed this house. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe.